The smallest canine in the park, the red fox, seems barely to have noticed the return of the wolf. He's intent on his own supper and prefers to hunt by aerial attack. Today's quarry, little rodents like mice and voles. As winter progresses, snow melts and refreezes, forming a hard crust. The park's great herds struggle to find grazing. Elk, weakened by hunger, sense they are vulnerable. Dozens of generations of living without wolves have not begun to ease their fear of the predator. But this ancient battle is never one-sided. The elk have lost none of their impressive defenses against wolves. Speed and sharp hooves even the odds, and desperation lends strength even to a starving elk.
Being a wolf is tough. I mean, they get kicked, they get walked on, they get broken ribs, and that's what they have to go through on a daily basis to get a meal.
Still, the resilient druids seem to come out of each hunt unscathed and in high spirits. As always, the thunder of hooves gets their attention. It is an enormous herd of elk coming their way. But trouble follows on its heels. Out of the adjacent valley comes the much larger Rose Creek wolf pack. There is no love lost between the two clans. Now the Rose Creeks pass through the no-wolf zone that separates the two packs' territories, still intent on the elk. The druids dare not confront the larger Rose Creek pack, but they've been quick to kill stragglers before. And a single young male has wandered a little too far onto their turf.
Wolves are fiercely territorial. For a trespassing wolf caught in the Druid Pack territory, it's almost always fatal. They'll be killed if they're caught.
Belatedly, the intruder realizes his mistake and hightails it for home. Only when he's well out of their turf do the druids relent. The pack now makes a show of remarking their boundaries. The alpha male, once a Rose Creek pup himself, leaves a chemical "Do Not Trespass" sign for his kind. And the intruder, chastised, heads back to his own valley. Between hunts and border skirmishes, there's time to relax. The Cinderella of the pack senses it's safe to invite her alpha sister to play. Soon there's a general outbreak of high spirits. It's said that every dog has its day, but the Druids, like most wolf packs, have come to own the night. It is their favorite time to hunt. By the light of the full moon, the alpha female leads the attack. Their intended target, a winter-weakened elk cow, is not about to go down without a fight. But on this icy night, the odds are changing in the wolves' favor. The snow is crusted over, and the elk's thin legs crash through, slowing her down with every stride. The wolves' enormous webbed paws keep them on the surface, moving with deadly speed over the rough terrain. As dawn breaks over the Lamar, a hungry coyote picks his way across the valley toward the scene of the Druids' night kill. The wolves have already eaten their fill. The coyote approaches at its peril and hesitates, as if calculating the risk. For scavengers on the wing, the return of the wolf has been an unmitigated blessing. A small wolf pack like the Druids can eat less than half a 500-pound elk at a sitting, leaving a banquet for ravens and eagles who are thriving on the top dog's leftovers. Not so the coyote. Fully half of its kind have disappeared where the wolf has been reintroduced.
Life has changed significantly for coyotes. They have to look over their shoulder a lot more now than they ever did before. These coyotes can't pass up a meal in the middle of winter that wolves provide. And literally, if these coyotes don't look over their shoulder enough, they're going to find a wolf coming, and it's game over.
Spring comes late to Yellowstone, but by May the Lamar Valley is finally shedding its winter coat. Everywhere in Yellowstone, a new generation is kicking up its heels in exuberant rites of spring. Even the young coyotes seem to be thriving. With the adult population down, there is more food to go around, and the pup survival rate is actually up. The Druids have come through the winter in fine form, and soon will have their own young to look after. For a Cinderella wolf, this is bad news. Her sister's fuse is growing short, and soon even groveling will fail to appease her. Somewhere in the Lamar Valley, the Druid's alpha female has picked a summer homestead, one Doug is anxious to find, but not to disturb.
This is the Druid peacock's den, and we pretty much stayed back from this area so we don't disturb or interfere with them. But they've got 5 pups this year, both gray and black, and a great deal of anticipation because that's more than last year.
Now more than ever, the biologists must keep their distance, settling for brief glimpses of this new phase in the pack's life. Wolves love puppies. In spring, the nurturing hormone prolactin is peaking in the entire pack, not just the nursing female. This ensures that every member of the pack, male or female, is eager to care for the young.
No adult wolf can resist a pup. The pups tug on their ears, climb on their backs, and that adult just sits there good-naturedly, almost smiling. Bringing back toys, throwing it with the pups. It's almost like pups are the biggest joy for the entire pack.
Meanwhile, the pups grow strong, learn the rudiments of the chase, master the body language of the wolf, and find out exactly where they rank in the pack hierarchy, at the bottom. In the valley below, elk are also taking in the spring. Few prey species have been more closely honed by the strengths of a predator than the elk by the wolf. In size, speed, grace, all the way down to her sharp, lightning-quick hooves, the elk owes much of her streamlined design to the great canine's pursuit through the ages. Her extravagant trot and nose-up posture may have evolved not just for keeping an eye on predators, but also to impress them with her fitness. During calving season, the elk have every keen sense attuned to the possibility of ambush in the deep grass. Elk are fierce defenders of their newborns, and many a wolf has been trampled by an outraged elk mother.
Elk calves are vulnerable. The only hope an elk calf has is the mother. If you can get mom away long enough to just grab that calf, you usually will come away with the prize.
The prize, however grisly, means food for his own hungry young. The Druid pups, it seems, have a thoroughly modern dad. He spends as much time as anyone else in the pack feeding his brood. Nearby, a coyote mother attempts to muster her rambunctious clan. Her den and that of the Druids are too close for comfort, and she's in a constant state of agitation. With good reason, it turns out. It's the Druid Cinderella passing through on her way back to the pack. Even here, she gets no respect. When their pups are at risk, coyotes don't hesitate to take on a wolf 3 times their size. The hapless wolf is soon driven off. But now that their denning grounds have been discovered, the coyotes will take no chances. It's time to move the pups, and in a hurry. The search is on for a new hideout, and along the banks of a river they find a likely spot. This place, though soggy, looks wolf-proof. Our Cinderella wolf returns to the Druid's den at last, but if she expects an enthusiastic welcome from her alpha sister, she is sorely mistaken.
The relationship between the alpha female and the beta female, sisters, is a tightrope. You never know when the alpha female is going to snap and attack the beta female. And you never know how long that beta female is going to put up with it, if she's going to stay or leave. So it's really like a tightrope, never knowing how it's going to come out. Stay or leave, stay or leave.
It's now August, and the creatures of Yellowstone make the most of the last days of the short summer. The season brings a lonely rite of passage for one animal. For the Cinderella sister of the Druid Peak pack, the hounding has become relentless. This time, the judgment is final. Her fleetness of foot and her courage at the kill no longer warrant a place in the pack. She slinks away with her tail between her legs, glancing back for a sign of reacceptance that never comes. In the ancient way of the wolf, she must strike out on her own. Her best chance for survival is to find her own mate and her own territory.
Striking out on your own is always risky. You've got to kill by yourself. You may not find a territory. You may not find a mate. The life of a lone wolf is hard. But if you can find a mate and a territory, your future can be very good.
For now, her future is uncertain, as is that of all the Yellowstone wolves. Recently, some packs have strayed outside the park, placing themselves in danger and disrupting a uniquely American way of life. For generations, Martin Davis's family have been ranchers.
It becomes a way of life. It's just part of you to be out with your cattle, and it's something that's in your blood. I mean, we've got a lot invested in these cattle. There are life savings tied up in these cattle.
Recently, Martin was horrified to find 13 wolves near his herd. He hasn't lost any livestock yet, but he's convinced that day is bound to come.
I think it's inevitable, whether they're not in our cattle today or this year, but next year, someday, that wolf's going to trot by and he's going to be hungry, that someday they will take one of our cattle.
For people who live near Yellowstone, those fears are very real. As for Doug, he's now come to the hard part of his job, finding a way for two icons of the American West to coexist. If he and other advocates for the wolf should fail, the unthinkable happens. The wolf may once again be removed from Yellowstone.
I've been with them since day one, and I carried every wolf in. And I opened the doors to the pens, and I've watched this wolf population grow. And so in a way, the thread of my existence has gone through those wolves. They have been the biggest constant in my life.
Oblivious to the human dilemmas of biologists and ranchers, the wolves continue to make their own way in Yellowstone. And sometimes even wolves find fairy tale endings. Finally, the Cinderella sister meets a potential Prince Charming. Whether they start a new pack or go separate ways, they have taken their place in this wilderness, another piece in the untamed puzzle that is Yellowstone.
I think Yellowstone's complete now with the return of the wolf. Having them back brings Yellowstone back to its primeval state. And so now the basic idea is to let it go and to not come in with human ideas of how it should be, but come in a way with wolf ideas and elk ideas and grizzly bear ideas on how Yellowstone should be. And our job is just to let it go.
After this film was completed, the Druid saga took a dramatic turn. The Cinderella sister returned to the pack from time to time. She was still subservient to her dominant sister, but the balance of power was about to shift. In May, park biologists found the alpha female by the side of the road, badly mauled. It was the work of other wolves, perhaps the Cinderella sister and the rest of the pack. Despite their best efforts, the Yellowstone team could not save her life. As for the Cinderella sister, she was soon observed with a litter of her own. She moved her young to the pack's main den and adopted her sister's orphan pups as well. The once cringing beta was now a confident alpha. For now, the wolves' home in Yellowstone seems secure. A recent federal court decision affirmed their right to live here, but it may take more than a legal ruling to put the controversy to rest. Wolves cannot recognize human boundaries or human laws. And so long as humans fear them, their future will remain uncertain.